Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Hope your day is going well. As for me, having to read the nonsense that I'm reading, I don't even have a logical sequence or order that is going to be part of this program. Obviously, this is a pregame analysis of the Browns and the Steelers, but there's so much more going on in the NFL that it's kind of hard to ignore. Okay. I'm going to start by sharing a screen, and this is really unfortunate. And let's see if I can get this to share. I hope this is sharing for people. It's very hard for me to see. Let me know in the chat room if you're seeing the shared screen that I'm bringing up here. I'm not seeing it. So if anybody wants to comment in the chat room, I would be more than happy to try to correct this if I'm doing it incorrectly. They've been having problems with this, and it is unfortunately, I don't think, working. It is visible. Okay, fine. Thank you, Double P. If I owned a radio station in Akron, Ohio, Canton, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, the Akron Beacon Journal would be destroyed. I would literally have taken them apart limb by fucking limb. Literally. I would have taken their subscription level down to such a low level, it would have been no longer even profitable for them to even consider publishing a newspaper. And I'm older now. I'm out of the business, but I wish to God somebody would loan me a frequency in that area so I could take these motherfuckers down. This is so pathetic that I can't imagine a company allowing this to be published representing their newspaper on the internet. And it's opened up an incredible discussion about the horrible K word karma that's being bandied around on Twitter and around social media on the internet. And it is not the only reference that is up on the Akron Beacon Journal. They think it's great because they're getting hits out of this. And here's what I want to say to the Akron Beacon Journal, besides telling them they're a bunch of cocksucking motherfuckers. They already know that. Yeah, this is real. This isn't made up shit. This is real. And that's what makes it scary that a newspaper, can go in this direction. That's right, Captain Fierce, after what happened on Thursday, too. Feels like payback for his sexual misconduct against women. I want to ask them a question. What's the payback for Jim Donovan? Tell me! Fucking assholes. There is misfortune in this world that is undeserved. There are children 6 years of age dying of cancer and leukemia and all kinds of horrible things. Children starving in quadrants of the world. Children being killed by drive-by shootings in which they were innocent bystanders in the inner city of the United States. Payback, indeed. For what? And I want them, and if I'm telling you, if I had a radio station, I'd be saying this very same thing. I want an explanation for Jim Donovan's leukemia. So what's the payback, Akron Beacon Journal? Or Could it be that you don't know life's plan, for Christ's sake? None of us do. There are people who are rewarded who are bad, evil people. Won't name them, but they're out there. There are good people who have bad luck. There are stupid people like Sean Watson who don't seem to understand that their fame and notoriety by being a professional athlete should prevent them from doing stupid things like hooking up with women on Instagram. So that you know where I stand on this, okay? I'm bringing Bronk in. Hi, Bronk.
Boo.
Just want people to know, because people say, well, you're just defending Deshaun Watson. No, I'm not. He was stupid. And so are the women who are non-licensed massage therapists who are publishing their services on Instagram. They're stupid too. And I tend to believe that that's the reason why this was settled out of court monetarily, that there were no crimes officially committed in this, because you're dealing with people who are not real swift. And Deshaun Watson may be a great quarterback, but I can only hope that he's a smarter human being after what happened, because that was just plain fucking stupid. I look up what's happened to the women. They've all disappeared. They got their payday. So I am safe to assume that both parties were careless and stupid. But the Akron Beacon Journal, no. They're not stupid. They're trying to take advantage of a man's misery, a black man's misery, in a city that has such a high African-American population that I would have people there burning down their fucking building if I had a radio station there. God damn it. What's the payback for Joe Burrow? Somebody tell me this. After all of this happens, then yesterday's game happened. Unbelievable. I'm going to stop sharing this because it makes me really want to vomit. It really does. I'm going to flip over to this. It really makes me angry.
Wow, I hadn't seen that until just now. So
it's
wow.
The thing that makes me absolutely hate cheap,
Well, I mean, there's cheap shots on the football field, and then there's cheap shots on the media.
Is there anything?
At the same time.
Like we need that.
Yeah.
Like we need that.
Who does that benefit? That sort of post,
And there was something else that I actually stumbled across, and I want to find it because I didn't save it because I wanted to get this one shared so that people would believe me. If you didn't see this,
no, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, people would think that it's some kind of a fake account or something, and that's not the case. But they've followed the same. I don't know. I'm trying to pull this up, and I think it's going to be hopeless for me to pull this up right now.
Wow.
But basically, it was more propaganda about how these women were the victims of a crime that really wasn't committed. There's somebody with some kind of an axe to grind, and I go back to the time when I was in Canton and I was just a lowly salesperson selling advertising for a Canton radio station. And, I knew that one day, because I know, they were such, and it was the Canton Repository, and it was the Akron Beacon Journal and the Cleveland Plain Dealer. They were like the kings of the world.
They were.
They could do no wrong.
Yeah.
They had the world in the palm of their hand. And you know what? They looked upon us, the electronic media people, as some lower form of life.
Yeah.
And they had no idea that not only was radio coming, but that the internet was coming.
Yeah.
They had no idea what was ahead of them, and they were so pompous, I can't begin to tell you. Well, they don't have the goddamn clout anymore to do shit like this. And as far as I'm concerned, that's right, Rick May, the print media is going away just because technology replaces the old school, printing press. So that the Akron Beacon Journal shut down its own printing facility.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's more that should be said about this.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. When they shut their own down, they started using the Kent Repositories printing area. And then when that stopped, they cut a deal with the plain dealer to have their newspapers printed. Their fucking subscription is down to 21,000 newspapers.
Wow.
And nothing now.
More people than you're used to.
Those like the value sheets they give you in the mail, they just pump the shit out. They don't have shit right now. So they got to use the internet for this kind of crap. And it's just pathetic. And I can't say anything else except that it is pathetic. Then we had yesterday's game. And
I didn't watch because I didn't watch it.
Well, the game itself ended up the way I knew it had to end up, basically.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of the way it works. However, the stuff that's come out of it, with Joe Burrow, I mean, they're investigating the Bengals to see what did you know about this man's injury? He was wearing a goddamn brace when he came off, the plane or the bus or whatever it was that he was being transported to. You could see he was wearing a brace on his hand.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yep. I mean, they have it photographed. It's not like any great surprise. And there was nothing said by the Bengals. They just let him out there and played, and they RG3'd him. And RG3 will come back into this program again, too. They put him out there. He didn't take any kind of a mean hit. He just, his arm, he fell, and he maybe tried to catch himself, and he said he heard a pop, and that was it. It's a torn ligament in his wrist, and he's done. He's done for the year. He's no different than Deshaun Watson. He's gone for the year.
Wow. And he'll have to use his other hand to wank now, too.
Yeah. But let me say this. I have no axe to grind with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's been good to us. We kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in all seriousness, I feel bad because he's a young man in the prime of his career, and injuries have become the main story.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have I moaned about how it's shit that this time of year and into December, we end up watching who's got the best practice squad, and it's such bullshit. The time they start shortening the season and make it relevant and get rid of games and other teams' conferences, I don't want to see us play Seattle.
Didn't you know, really, after the Ravens got beaten by the Browns, and that was enough of a bloodfest.
Yeah.
That they had to play again on Thursday. Didn't you know that these short weeks are killing people?
Correct. Yeah.
All in the name of Amazon. Thursday night football. On
Black
Amazon.
Friday football could go fuck itself.
Yeah,
that is outrageous.
There is no regard for the safety of athletes in this game. And I agree, Double P, that the Bengals need to explain what they knew and when they knew it.
Knew it, yeah, but like Dixon.
Yeah, right. I mean, this is a very, very sad thing for me. Yeah. And it's the kind of thing that makes me cringe, because it isn't just that somebody gets hurt. It's that somebody has this to say.
Okay.
All right. Roquan Smith, who is the linebacker for the Ravens,
He is.
and talking about Joe Burrow after the injury and after it was reported he was done for the year. He's a great player, got a lot of respect for the way he plays the game, but hey, injuries are part of the game. So when you play the Ravens D, sometimes things like that happen. You know, what it's like a mea culpa? I mean, like I didn't know that?
What does that even mean, you know?
It means that's I
That's
mean,
what
they
do.
didn't even do it. That there
Yeah.
was a pre-existing, but
He's gonna
but
take credit
Roquan
for it?
Smith, no, Roquan Smith wants to say, you know, except we're the Ravens, we injure people. It happens. Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
And fuck the league for allowing this to happen.
Crazy.
I mean, this is, you know, I always say this on the air. You don't hear about the Bengals taking people out, being hitmen. It's only the Steelers and the Ravens. And they're the ones who win, and they're rewarded for it.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. They tried to take Denzel Ward out with a cheap shot to the head. They tried to club our quarterback, Deshaun Watson, in the head with a forearm shiver, and they aimed wrong, Patrick Queen.
Yep.
And they did end up hitting him and breaking his shoulder. So they're proud of themselves. Back-to-back weeks, they've taken out the first-string quarterbacks of their two rivals, and they're happy about it. That's Ravens football. And the league doesn't do a goddamn thing about it. And, you know, to sit there and say, well, I hope Roquan Smith gets hit and his spine is broken and he never walks again, that is the horrible thing that I'm seeing playing out on the internet between Browns fans, Ravens fans, Bengals fans, Steelers fans. You know, the Steelers are like, we get to play DTR, because your guys, worst deal you ever made, the Deshaun Watson, he's injured. And you know what it reminds me of?
What?
Israel and the Arabs. I mean, at this point, slaughter is slaughter, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it was
the
Palestinian Liberation Organization and Yasser Arafat back in the 70s would just set off bombs at bus stops and blow Israelis up, right? Or if they attacked in the 6-Day War or whatever, well, then you could bet that Israel struck back in a crueler and harsher way. And a good example is with this Hamas situation. Israel says, well, you know, we have intelligence that says Hamas is hiding out underneath hospitals. They start bombing hospitals. There are innocent people who are sick in those hospitals who are dying.
Sure.
And this is the all or nothing mentality that we are living in. I don't wish anything bad on Roquan Smith. I wish something bad on the owners of football so that this is no longer such a profitable thing and that the game changes itself by necessity. And I know that it's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and say, you know, these players are killing one another just like the Israelis and the Arabs are killing each other. They're human beings and they're killing each other.
Yeah, and by watching these games, we're complicit in all of it. I get what you're saying.
It's just
complicit. We're paying money to see these games.
At what point do we say enough?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else. I watched the game, and on at least 2 occasions, probably more, Lamar Jackson's leg went out from under him, not slipping, but gave way with no contact.
Oh,
It's just a matter of time.
yeah.
And it's not, as the Akron Beacon Journal would say,
Payback.
payback.
Yeah.
It's not karma.
Karma. Yeah.
What it is the realities of playing a dangerous game and allowing it to escalate and become more and more dangerous.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the lifespans of players, and now these are young, vital men, not guys in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. These are people being crippled right now. So it's, and they're proud of it.
It's grim. It's very grim.
It is very grim. And it's something that before I even talk about this weekend's game, the taste in my mouth is so bad. And, I really didn't have a horse in the race. I'm watching the Bengals play the Ravens. I know the Ravens would be favorites at home. They were favorites at home against us, and they lost. And I knew that they would be angry coming in this time because they weren't going to drop 2 in a row in front of their home fans.
No, that was pretty safe. Minus 3.5 points to give away.
And, I've been reading things, before Burrow went down, it's like, don't compare the Browns to the Bengals. The Bengals are far ahead of the Browns as a franchise. Well, we're going to see. I mean, the Browns don't have a backup quarterback. And the Bengals?
Yeah, we got in and got Joe Flacco before the Bengals could.
Well, I mean, the sad part of it is there ain't nobody who's going to step in and save your season. It just doesn't work out that way. But when you're the Browns, you see what a stupid thing that our front office did. What a stupid thing. We don't have a backup quarterback. We have 2 guys who haven't played in the NFL. And right in front of these same people's faces are the Cincinnati Bengals, who they say, that organization is much further along because they have really good quarterback, good receiver. But that quarterback has been injured every year he's played in the NFL, and he's young.
Yeah.
His body is never going to hold up for long.
He might not make it to another contract.
Seriously,
I'm very serious about that. He might not make it to his next contract. Once he's already signed this big fat one now, but when he's like 30 years old, when his next one comes around, he might not be around.
That's right. And again, it's the sorrowful part of this is that people are trying as fans to analyze this and say, well, the Bengals are a better organization, not the Browns, but they both don't have a quarterback who played in an NFL game.
No.
A guy who had to come in on the field, Browning, he one play in his whole 4-year or 5-year career, one play, and that was against the Browns in the first week of this season. He never made it off a practice squad onto a regular season game. And so what backup, what plan did the front office of the Bengals have? And you know something? What plan can anyone have when in the blink of an eye, your best player can just be carted off and you're not going to see him again for the rest of the year? It happened with Nick Chubb. It happened with Deshaun Watson. It happened with Joe Burrow. It's going to keep on happening. And the Ravens should know. It happened to Holcomb. They lost that linebacker, and they lost their second linebacker, whose name is escaping me. And they know, but they're hardened because, this is bloodthirst.
Didn't Mark Andrews get hurt last night?
Yep. Gone for the year.
There you go.
Don't have to worry about him over the middle anymore.
Can I just say to Wiley Fox that Wiley Fox is a lovely man.
He is. He's a holy, godly man.
So I hope you disagree with that, Wiley Fox.
But yeah, and Mark Andrews has been a beast against the Browns. Let's be honest about that. But you want to know what really killed me?
What killed you? Tell me.
the analysis, Bart Scott, who's former linebacker of the Ravens, he does he's on one of these sports talk shows, and there's so many who can separate them.
Who cares? Yeah.
And he was whining about the fact that the guy who made the hit for the Bengals said it was a dirty hit. And it's like,
Oh,
no, wait a minute.
really?
I mean, the guy was running out. He broke a tackle in the open field. The guy ran him down from behind. And yes, he got him around the waist, and the momentum pushed Andrews onto his hip side, and weight was pushed down on on his knee, and that's that. And that was not an egregious hit. Nothing compared to what I've been seeing the Ravens and the Steelers doing. And this was, of course, a Ravens fan or a former player at that going off on this. The people on the other two guys were like, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, it's like, how are you supposed to get the motherfucker on the ground if you can't tackle him?
Let's just have flag football then. Yeah, that's the answer.
It's dangerous to play the game. You want to know not what karma is, but what consequences are.
Yeah.
And these men who play this game are willing to mortgage a large part of their future for monetary gain today.
Yeah, their physical health and their mental health.
That's right. And so do we feel sorry for them?
Not really. They're complicit.
Everything about this is like, and so the fans don't have to take the hits. The fans don't have to be crippled and have surgery over and over again. And they can just, and the Akron Beacon Journal doesn't. They have to find a greater meaning to life that fits into their ridiculous notion, all right, of what a crime against women is. And to liken what Deshaun Watson did with the actual rape and abuse that women have been forced to put up with for years and years, of women who were raped, who came to the police and were humiliated because they came forward, and that the perpetrator was never tried, never found guilty. Do you know that those women are out there saying to themselves, man, I wasn't advertising services on Instagram. I got mugged in the street and I got raped. God damn it. That's a violent fucking crime. And the men who got, life in prison or whatever they got, 20 years or whatever, didn't make those women whole again. We have a problem in this country that we don't know the different shades of colors. It's black and white in this world, and it stinks. I'm so sick of one side against another side. It's like, I say that if you have a guy on a massage table and you say that you're a massage therapist and you don't have a license, and you advertised to him and reached out to him on Instagram, all right, and the guy helped get himself off and touched you with his penis, and you talked to him after that appointment, you didn't go to the police, you talked to him, and in some instances, had him in there a second time. It's a lot like football. It's hard to find the guy in the white hat. It's hard to find the good guys versus the bad guys, because we look at things black and white, when everything is a shade of gray. Everything.
Yeah, it's a spectrum, isn't it?
So, the reason I said that RG3 would come up, because RG3 is now a talking head on one of those 9,476,000 sports talk shows. And he literally on camera said to the Cleveland Browns, bring me in as your starting quarterback. I don't care. Bring me in as your backup and I'll help DTR. I'll do this. I'll do that.
He's crazy.
Well, the fact of the matter is, it's not enough. It's not enough for you that the Commanders blew out, the Redskins at the time, blew out your knee by doing to you what it appears the Bengals did to Joe Burrow, knowing, let's put a brace on his knee.
Yeah, that'll
put him
work.
out there. And you know what the high horse is? The high horse is being right, Racky Bull. That's what the high horse is. You can't stand it.
Yeah, people don't like the correct opinion.
You can't handle the truth. Can't. Because you're defending such a corrupt system. It's unbelievable.
Oh.
And so RG3 at 33 years of age saying I can still run a 4.3 40 and I can do this and I can do that. And what it amounts to is he figures, well, geez, if I'm ever going to get into the back into this league, it might be the Browns who are stupid enough to bring me in a second time. He's out there in his own personal interest. He obviously hasn't gotten crippled and injured enough.
Yeah.
He wants more of that.
He wants more of that good pain shit.
And this is what I was getting at, MS1.
Correct.
That Lamar Jackson could very well be RG4. Absolutely.
Newton. Yeah.
Because his leg is giving out without contact. He's going to end up getting hurt. As sure as I'm sitting here, it's going to be 100%. All of them.
100%. The AFC North is going to have practice squad quarterbacks throughout their whole division because Pickett will get killed at some point too.
That's the unfortunate reality of the game itself. And I lost the game. You broke him so much he whipped your ass in the second half and it was 14-14 with a broken shoulder. You know what I say to you, Racky Bull? Fuck you. You're out of here. God, get away. Just leave. You're in timeout, baby.
Wow.
And that's the stupidity of fans. It's like, even when you lose the game, no, we won because we crippled your quarterback and ended his season. That's pathetic, man. And you're right, but the fact of the matter is that sliding doesn't save you.
Yeah, you get hurt on that too. You get hit in the head, or you get, yeah. Oh God, don't get me started.
It's smart to slide, but they'll
do you
the
anyway.
Steelers and the Ravens will just have a second string guy pile on and cripple.
Yeah, or the turf dig up your ankle or your knee as you're sliding down.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways you can twist joints. You know something? I talk, Ronald, about Watson getting hurt, about Burrow getting hurt, about Lamar Jackson getting hurt. I talk about that because it's no coincidence that they're mirroring one another because they're experiencing the same violence. And do I have anything against Lamar Jackson? No, I think he's overrated as a quarterback, and I've said that on many occasions. But as a human being, I hate to see people getting hurt. I hate to see that kind of shit. And there is no karma, Ronald. There's only reality. And you refuse to see with your eyes that Lamar Jackson is being beaten up and that his legs can't take this beating. And you're laughing today. But, think of him. Don't think of yourself and how you're getting your rocks off watching the games or that your team's in first place. Take yourself out of the equation and think about what he has to go through every week to get prepared to play, to get a little bit closer and a little bit closer to missing multiple games like he has in every year that he's played. That's what they're all waiting for. I'm not picking on one guy. My God. It's just amazing. He was soft enough to beat you. And, I know there's multiple identifications. And so you're also going away. Uh, people who are not human or humane have no business here because this is too serious. And the Browns are working out Joe Flacco. And, Joe Flacco last seen with the Jets, and I pulled up stats on Joe Flacco, and you don't want to know.
No, don't.
I mean, by the time he was done in his last year at age 37, he was completing 57% of his passes. He was throwing, 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and was playing for the New York Jets, for God's sakes, who were a broken organization.
You know what? If he plays in Stefanski's system, he's a guaranteed pick six waiting to happen.
And
I
not,
mean,
and
my God,
he's immobile. He can't get out
yeah,
of the way. I
he'll
mean,
get killed.
you really need somebody who has some escapability and can move around the pocket a little bit because we have offensive linemen. Although DeJuan Jones is going to be back, we have guys who are hurt. And but if you look at the last years of Flacco's career, starting in 2015, so we're going to start early.
Okay.
His quarterback record was 3-7, 8-8, 9-7, 4-5, 2-6, 0-4, 0-1, and 1-3. Now,
that's basically he's in his 30s during all that.
That's right. That's exactly right. His career had basically come to an end.
It topped out.
And it's unfortunate because that's what happens to quarterbacks in the NFL because they're crippled up. And Joe Flacco beat the Browns a lot, and I have nothing against Joe Flacco whatsoever. Nothing.
Times.
And he was 18-3. That was his record against the Browns. Got no bitterness toward the man at all. He's out there and paid to win. But he shouldn't be coming back to play. He should, his family should take a look at Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis didn't play football. But remember the times you have with somebody, because if they keep, playing and getting more damage, you're going to lose that person far sooner. And I wish Joe Flacco would get it out of his head. He's got a Super Bowl. He did that. He made a great accomplishment that many players will never experience as quarterbacks. Most
get to.
Yeah, we'll never even get there. That's right. And I don't want to see that happen to him or to anybody else. But the fact that the Browns are working him out is just, they experience and whatever, but it doesn't really matter because he'll get hurt immediately, even if he was pressed into action, because his body can't hold up.
Yeah, it's like when we tried out Mark Delhomme or, Gary Danielson, Don Strock all those years ago.
Yeah. Wiley, is that what Jesus would say? I'm being serious now.
What is football shape anyway?
And how do you know what shape they're in? Nick Chubb? You're telling me that Nick Chubb wasn't in shape?
Nick Chubb is probably the fittest man on the planet, and he got his leg tore off.
Yeah, don't be foolish. Don't be foolish. It's football. Like, we accept it. That's just the way it is, Well, Christ didn't accept the world the way it was. Yeah. So his life was taken. Right? Good God. Exactly. I'm not even a religious man, and I know that much.
Oh. God bless you. God bless you, Wiley.
Yeah.
No, I'd say Flacco's in better shape than I am, to be fair.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's really not.
But come Monday, I'll probably be in better shape than Flacco.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
That's the sad thing about it.
Yeah.
Now he might be in better shape, but Monday, check back with me, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, and this goes way beyond fandom, and that this is Steeler week. I can't even get up. Hey, Mark Ross,
Well,
how you doing?
I blame myself for invoking that cow, thing that you have for Ken Dorsey getting fired and Watson getting injured, and I'll even take the credit for Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow as well. It was all trying to invoke the BCOD, and he found targets out there.
Yeah, and he laid down his life, and what was his payback?
Yeah,
He was put up on a cross and left there to starve. What was that a payback for? And I think it would be man's evil ways. And men's evil ways are what are pushing football and have pushed football into this dangerous, violent, mob-related game that is now just inexorably tied to gambling,
oh yeah,
more vices.
that's really what it's all about, is the gambling aspect of it. So
Yeah, Gemini, my thoughts on Taki Taki. I don't know
are
what
we
you're.
meant to have thoughts on Taki Taki?
I don't know unless you know something that I don't know, Gemini. I don't know what you're referring to. So,
what was I going to say? So DeJuan Jones is coming back.
oh yeah, well he was
How is
actually
that
doing the
possible?
electric glide in practice. Yeah,
Wow.
they're saying he's going to play, but not Juan Thornhill and not Marquise Goodwin. And thank God, I don't want Marquise Goodwin on the field
Oh yeah,
for
he'll
his own
die on the
safety
field.
because of the
Yeah.
blood clots and everything, And it's and if it was just a violent game, what it says more, Wiley, is
It's
about
corrupt
us,
too.
that it's the Lions and the Christians, and it's like
Yeah.
people filling up the stands to see people being ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
And I'm not comfortable with it. I'm just not comfortable with the whole thing. The Browns are geared up and saying they're really ready for a physical game, but the odds of DTR coming out, and I understand the young man's got a little pep in his step and he's got a little strut to him
For now.
Yeah, but well, I've been out there once, and now my eyes are wide open, or they're wide shut. The fact of the matter is, nobody can say that one game took them from being a boy into being a man. The NFL is a fast game that changes so quickly. The defensive schemes can trick the eyes of a young, inexperienced player. You can't expect DTR to go out there and be very much. I mean, any more than you could expect Browning to have come in to the second half of the Cincinnati game and get anything accomplished, or any other guy who doesn't have game experience.
Yeah, exactly. They're a 40 quarterback rating ready to happen. Any of these backups playing elite defenses, they're not going to get the job done.
All right, Wiley Fox. Yeah, here we go. I'll tell you this right now. If this is what boxing is turning into, Larry Holmes beating a defenseless Randall Tex Cobb, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
America cheered, by the way. Yeah, he's gone.
No more Howard.
Oh, God.
I think you should introduce Wiley Fox in the chat using your Ed Sullivan voice.
Now right now here on our show, a Christian from Marietta, Ohio. Let's really hear it. Hear it for Wiley Fox.
Wiley Fox.
I love you, Wiles. You know that. Anybody who could be around as many years and still listening to this program.
And still alive.
Yeah, it's all good. The Browns are all stoked, and they're really trying to get themselves into a mental space where they're going to go out and do the best they can against the Steelers. And it's going to be very difficult. They're going to have a home crowd in front of them. But you're going to have TJ Watt and a bunch of defensive players for the Steelers who are looking at the footage and the film of what happened to DTR against the Ravens, they're going to scare the crap out of this guy.
Yeah.
And I agree, David, very, very much. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, if he throws those dink passes again, we're dead because the TJ Watt will just bat him up in the air and catch him and run for a
Or they'll
touchdown.
jump patterns. I mean, you have
Yeah,
to be able to pump fake if they're going to overplay certain areas.
correct.
Um, but now the running game, that's what it is. And well, if this is what you like, Nard Frog,
There's nothing wrong with that.
we're
Like what he
very
wants.
understanding people, and what you can do is, if your father is still alive, you can just kind of hit him up, see what he thinks about that. Hey, Christopher Milton, how you doing? Good to see you. I hope everything in your life is going well. And that's it, Ron. It's the reason that PJ Walker is not playing, let's be honest, is that we don't need a gunslinger mentality, but we have no speed at the wide receiver position. There's no real big plays to be had here, and the risk is far too great. That's why PJ Walker is not starting. And it's going to be an extremely close to the vest. I mean, probably the most random wild things will be end arounds and
Oh
things of that
God, yeah.
nature to Elijah Moore. I'm being serious.
Yeah, no, yeah. Elijah Moore with the end around flea flicker,
Yeah.
from Harrison Bryant.
And,
Yeah.
what they've drilled into DTR is we can't afford to make mistakes. And, we were so lucky in one regard that we got away with mistakes early in the game against the Ravens on foreign soil.
Oh God, yeah.
You can't let that happen here. And the Steelers are very good at making those, turnovers happen. That's what their defense does. So, they're going to put a DTR in a system and a scheme that is going to try to minimize that. But that means that the running game has to work. The offensive line has to do what it did and try to get 178 yards rushing against the Steelers' interior defense, and to run push plays or whatever the hell it takes to try to get the
Yeah.
ball down the field and the clock running and try to pull out a game in the end.
Let's just
That's
do rugby plays. Pick the ball up, get 6 guys tight together, get the other 6 behind the running back, just push them right through the Steelers and see how that works. That might actually be a good plan
I stopped doing the Pick'em show for a real good reason
because
because
it was shit.
no, the Pick'em show was designed just to be something that people could participate in.
Yeah.
But with gambling now,
People take it
I
seriously.
don't,
Yeah.
it's bad enough that when I want to look at what, different media sites are predicting for the game, in literally 70% of the cases, it's all bet oriented as far
Yeah.
as the spread, about over under, and about all the gambling stuff, and I don't really give a shit about that. So that's what happened to the Friday NFL Pick'em show from
Yeah.
all those years ago. It just I don't
Yeah.
want to
And,
get
and
tied into that.
and there was a lot of tedium when you're picking like the Panthers versus the Cardinals and shit like that. It was too long for everybody's life.
I think if they had Pabst Blue Ribbon, they'd be better off.
PBR, yeah.
Amsterdam, yeah, that's what I think.
DTR, DPJ,
Yeah, and
LBJ.
MS1, yeah, you can see Nick Harrison as fullback. And don't be surprised if he
He
carries the
gets the
ball.
ball. Yeah, give him the ball.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in and peeled him off and they throw a little screen pass to him. I'm serious. Uh, uh,
Is
so
that true?
Minka is out for this game. That should help us.
Is that true?
I don't know. This is what David is saying.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's for the Browns, it's going to be try to wear out
Oh God.
the
Yeah.
defense, and the more
Yeah,
3 and outs you have, the more you pass early and you don't assert physicality, the easier it's going to become for the Steelers defense because 3 and outs and 3 and outs, and they just remain rested. They just keep putting more and more pressure on you. You got to try to wear them down, and it's not easy to do. And in their last couple of games, the Steelers' running game has gone from like a 3.5 yard average to a 4.7 yard average. They're
yeah, they're
actually
figuring
running the
it
ball
out.
better
Yeah,
recently. So, which is important for them because they don't want to put the ball in Kenny Pickett's hands and their fate into that quarterback because he's not so great.
yeah.
So, we have the same problem. And that's why, DTR is going to be really kept very,
Can
very conservative.
can we actually win a coin toss for a change and not have our offense get trotted out in the field and the first thing, and then throw a pick six 2 plays later? I mean, that's really what I want to happen. I want to see us at least not give up an offensive turnover until the second quarter. You know, let's see if we can make it that long. You know,
Yeah. And Christopher saying that Minka didn't even practice this week. And I wasn't aware of it either. Yeah, Njoku. I mean, yeah, let's that the Steelers are going to be ready for screen passes to Njoku.
well, why not have Njoku in the backfield? Running the ball up the gut on the Steelers.
I mean, I wouldn't put anything past the offense in this game. Anything they need to do to try to muscle, uh, I think everybody in Amsterdam wants
Oh
to
God,
see a physical.
since 1971, we've been wanting to see that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, but what I want to do is, as a fan of the Cleveland Browns, and for me, it goes back to being 8 years old. I
Kid
mean,
fucking
so this
Browns.
is like part of my life, and I'm trying real hard to keep level-headed about it, and it's difficult for me to do. But I want the Browns to win. I'm picking the Browns to win because they're 6-3 and they have a chance to do something. And I'd like for the young man, DTR, who I think after he had no chance to prepare his first time out,
Correct. We had
that
no idea he was going to be
got
doing that.
obliterated. He got obliterated. And then
Yeah.
it turned him into persona non grata
And it
on the
was
team.
embarrassing for not only
Yeah.
that game, but what happened to him afterwards was embarrassing for the poor lad. Yeah.
Yeah. And, unless you don't believe me, the next little story, and I am picking the Browns to win the game, and we're going to say 24 we'll give the Steelers 17.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I'm going to tend to agree with that. I think that we do win, and I don't think it's going to be a big scoring game.
yeah. Now, the next story, former Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl champ dies of chronic alcohol use. Uh, Dead at the age of 46 is Clark
Ooh,
Haggins. You know, it's he played collegiately at Colorado State University. He was drafted by the Steelers in the fifth round of the 2000 draft. Another one of those good linebacker picks. 13 years in the NFL,
wow, that's a long
including
time.
his first 8 in Pittsburgh. And sure enough, dead at 46. And you say alcohol consumption, and I say, what was he medicating?
Pain, yeah.
I mean, there's so many different ways of dealing with the horrible ravaging effect of this game on people's bodies. This is just one way. I do see the Steelers scoring, David, because of Pickens.
Yeah, he's a
There's
great
a big
player. He's
play.
gonna have a big play. Yeah, he's a
There's a
great
big
player.
play in this offense
Correct.
uh,
At least
that
one or two.
that we really don't have that kind of a receiver. So I do see them scoring, and Nard Frog, for a guy who's into the guys and all kinds of stuff. Uh, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at any final score in this game, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
But I'm a Browns fan and I want them to win. But it's going to be a challenge for the Browns to win the game. And they're going to have to use all the home cooking they can get from their home crowd and a couple of important plays that
So
need to be made in a timely fashion.
what's the weather going to be like? I haven't looked.
It's interesting because I generally do keep up with that. Having a house up there, it would be nice. Let me do this. I'll go in and do that right.
Then you could do the Dick Goddard weather report.
I'm not going to do a Dick Goddard weather report. Let me see where this.
Time for the Woolly Bears.
This is giving me my local weather here. There we go. Here we go. I'll do it Northeast Ohio. The daily Sunday, a high of 50, a low of 30, with a real feel of 49, 8-mile-an-hour winds. So this is
good.
Yeah, with a 1% chance of rain. So there will be no excuses for this. And I know it's starting to get cold in Northeast Ohio, and the lows are starting to drop down into the 20s at night. But this game will not be affected by that. So that's good.
It's ideal Myles Garrett weather, that is.
Yeah. And, the whole thing here is we got to 3-and-out them and keep working their defense. And so we've got to play really significant third down football. The Steelers, when they're at their best, run the football and they tire you out, but they also convert third downs. One thing I can say about Kenny Pickett is that he's been effective in the fourth quarter of games and these close games, and he has one big drive in him that he gets in the fourth quarter that pulls these games out for them.
Yeah,
so,
they get calls for him too, as we well know. They'll get the whole defensive holding calls. They'll get the pass interference calls. They'll get whatever they need. And there you have it. That's why it's going to be a close game. The refs won't allow it to be a blowout, for the Browns, certainly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was looking around the internet, and basically as far as NFL.com, 3 of their prognosticators select the Browns in low-scoring games, 15-13, 19-17, 17-14, and 2 said the Steelers 18-15 or 18-16. So this is very much typical of what we're seeing. As far as ESPN.com, Moody's picked the Browns 24-14, and Walters picked the Browns 27-9. I think that's a little bit shaded. I wouldn't go that far. Bleacher Report is saying the consensus score is the Browns 17, the Steelers 16, but that is very much split between the people who are prognosticating. So, this is, and again, Juan Thornhill out, Marquise Goodwin out, and it looks like DeJuan Jones is in. So, this will make believers out of people. If DTR can go out and manage a football game.
Yep.
Without.
If he could get a rating of like 70, that would mean we're going to win.
Well, I mean, it's got to be a goose egg in the fumble and interception.
Well, I don't think it has to be that perfect, but yeah.
I do. There's no room, because when they get picks, they're pick sixes. When they get fumbles, they run them into the end zone.
Oh, yeah. I know. I'm not really disagreeing with you, but I think we have to not be minus turnovers. Let's put it that way. We can't be negative turnovers.
And again, we've done a good job, in getting the ball ourselves and getting turnovers and turning them into shorter fields for our team. This is a game where these types of mistakes will determine the outcome of the game. And the thing is that we're playing a guy for only the second time in his life.
I think with David's comment there, I think Schwartz is smart enough to design a system that will negate the Steelers chipping on Myles Garrett. So I think that our coach has this one for that scenario.
Yeah, DeWand is going to need help, because that low bend that TJ Watt does, and let me tell you something, TJ Watt's a hell of a defensive end. And I will never badmouth players because they play strictly for a specific team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. And that low bend around the corner move is very hard for a large man of 365 pounds to get down to. And that agility is hard for him to handle. So chipping is going to become a necessity with him. But then you have Hightower, okay?
Yeah.
And then you also have, who's the third in the triumvirate there? Give me the name of the third pass rusher they have.
Oh, no.
Because it's Hightower, TJ Watt, and there is a third, and it's very, very difficult. Your offensive line's got to be really pure. Highsmith, thank you.
Yes.
Nirvana fan, a little credit on screen for you. Thank you. Yeah, these guys are for real, and they're winning games for their team. And it's going to take a really spotless performance. And that goes for the offense too. Can't be fumbling the ball. You can't be, you just can't. You can't mess up a coverage deep and let a guy get, unaccosted into the end zone. Touchdowns in this game are going to be so valuable. You just have no idea.
Well, we actually have a punter and a kicker that can go toe to toe with the Steelers' special teams. We haven't had that in a long time, so that's a good thing. Oh,
Yeah, it's going to be.
What does Topaz think? Why don't you turn around and ask Topaz who's going to win?
Oh, Topaz.
Topaz.
Who's going to win? Well, the Browns are going to win.
Oh, he said that. I heard that.
Yeah, you see, he's more than happy to tell you. And I do want to say that I'm thrilled that Jim Donovan is going to be calling the game.
Oh, wow.
I hope that his treatment is going well. And it's been a hard road for that man. And he's a strong guy. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I've said this many times since his initial diagnosis. And now it's just great having him back in the booth.
Yeah,
And
it's such a stressful job too, doing that. You may love what you're doing when you're a radio announcer, but you're caught up in the team. You care about the team. You care about the quality of your broadcast. I mean, to have a health problem and to try to do that is very difficult indeed.
well, what I know is, having had a friend who lost the fight against leukemia, it is a strength sapper.
Yeah.
And if you watch Jimmy Donovan do his call on camera, because I have a camera in the press box,
Sure.
and he is really animated.
Yeah, you must wipe him out for days after he does a game.
Christopher, I didn't, but I will. I will, because that's a YouTube-based thing, and I'm not sure if you need to have any special way of getting in and watching it, or if it's just a free to the public thing. I really didn't have a chance to look into it, but I love you, Bruce.
I love you.
I'll do that.
Well, you haven't heard anything from Dickie V, your neighbor, have you?
Actually, yeah. Yeah, Dickie V is he said the vocal cord cancer, right now he's got clean scans, but he's not, the treatment to kill off the cancer in his vocal cords has weakened him to a degree where he can't yet call the basketball games, and he's looking forward to being able to do that in the future. And I mean, that's something that you shoot for. Oh, okay, it's free. I'll definitely give.
Definitely do it. Yeah, if you had to pay, then you'd think about it.
It's a Jewish thing, absolutely. No, I mean, I don't understand what that comment means. You wouldn't pay for me. Yeah. It's awesome.
We love you.
Yeah. God. So
Peter Ellis for Joe Burrow. Oh.
Okay, you want what do you want him to talk about? Now
Joe
end the show.
Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not worth being a quarterback. I remember when the Golden Bear, at 46 years of age, won the Open. And people said it was remarkable, but nobody ran out on the field and broke his shoulder. Nobody ripped a ligament out of his wrist. Oh. It's a different world for me because, quite honestly, golf is not violent unless you're a fan and you get hit in the face by a golf ball.
or a loose club.
All right, enough of him. All right, let's hope the Browns come through, and let's hope that we play another miracle game here to get us to 7-3, to keep us in the chase. I hope that's the case. It's going to be very hard for Cincinnati now. Their season is like ours appears to be, except they're 2 games worse than we are record-wise on the loss side. It's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, they've been buffaloed. So,
Absolutely. So, Bronk, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the program. I appreciate that. And
special love to Wiley Fox, wherever you are.
Yeah, and again, if you have an opportunity to cancel a subscription to the Akron Beacon Journal, please do it. These people are not worthy of your money and your funds. It's just wrong what they're doing. That's not what media should be for. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back with you game day, Sunday at the half and after the game, and hopefully we'll have in DTR we trust. Hopefully the young man will step forward and do a better job with a little bit more preparation, but it's only 3 days preparation, folks, before you get too excited.
Yeah.
To put somebody in that position is very, very difficult. We'll just see how it plays out. Until Sunday, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Good night.
Bye.